When the 1960s started, Kennedy was taking charge. No, not John Kennedy. Walter Kennedy, no relation, was the commissioner of the NBA. In 1960, Chubby Checker introduced millions of Americans to a new dance that he called the twist. And rookie Wilt Chamberlain introduced himself to the NBA. He was MVP of the All-Star game and showed signs of things to come with 23 points and 25 rebounds, some of which came with the help of his teammate, Bill Russell. In 1962, the world's two superpowers squared off in the Cuban Missile Crisis, which ended when Nikita Khrushchev withdrew Soviet nuclear missiles from Cuba. 1 year later, another superpower showdown occurred. No, not these guys. Wilt Chamberlain faced his nemesis, Bill Russell, in their first All-Star confrontation. As usual, Wilt was an immovable force, but Russell outshined him in both scoring and rebounding, leading the East to a sensational 115-108 overtime victory. At the same time, the Fab Four were becoming musical sensations and household names worldwide. One guy who definitely was not a household name was Adrian Odie Smith, a last-minute addition to the 1966 East All-Stars. Now, this little-known Cincinnati Royal won the hearts of his home crowd with 24 points, earning the MVP trophy. Well, actually, it was a new car, and Odie still drives it to this day. 1967 was the summer of love. No, not Bob Love. He was an all-star in the 70s. The hippie movement came to San Francisco that year, and coincidentally, so did the NBA All-Star Game. The Warriors' Rick Barry loved playing for his home fans, and after leading the West to victory with 38 points, he also loved his MVP trophy. By the end of the decade, the U.S. had landed the first man on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Neil Armstrong stepped into the history books, and Willis Reed took his own giant leap with an out-of-this-world season. In 69-70, he was MVP of the regular season, the finals, and the All-Star game, as he led the East to victory with 21 points and 11 rebounds. 2 years later, the All-Star game went west. Jerry West gave the Western squad a last-second victory.
5, 4, 3, 2.
In 1974, Nixon called it quits. I'm not talking about Norm Nixon. He wasn't an All-Star until 1985. Richard Nixon resigned as President of the United States in the midst of the Watergate scandal. 2 years later, the U.S. celebrated its bicentennial, and everyone cheered for the red, white, and blue, especially in the ABA, which featured the first ever slam dunk contest that year. And Dr. J got things off to a flying start.
And that sends everyone reeling. Julius Erving.
In 1977, Julius showed he could soar in the NBA as well, winning MVP honors in the All-Star game. His popularity skyrocketed, almost as much as disco music, which became all the rage. Fun seekers packed the discos to strut their stuff on the dance floor. And fans packed Detroit's Silverdome, setting an all-star attendance record of nearly 32,000 in 1979. They got their money's worth, as David Thompson was the brightest star. He helped the West close out the decade with a 134-129 victory.